For decades, you have been given the same advice about staying healthy as you get older. Doctors repeat it. Fitness magazines print it. Friends and family swear by it. Walk more. Get your steps in. Aim for 10,000 steps a day, and everything will be fine. It sounds simple. It sounds safe. And it sounds reassuring. But what if that advice, while well-intentioned, is leaving out the most important part of aging well? What if the exercise you were told would protect your body is actually failing to protect the one thing that matters most after 60, your strength? Because here is the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Walking is excellent for your heart, but it is not enough to protect your muscles, your bones, or your independence as you age. In fact, a major study released in 2023 by researchers at the University of Missouri sent shockwaves through the aging and rehabilitation community. The scientists compared adults over 60 who followed a traditional walking routine with those who performed targeted seated strength exercises. The results were impossible to ignore. The seated exercise group improved their functional strength by 27% more than the walking group. That is not a minor improvement. That is the difference between standing up with ease and needing help, between carrying groceries confidently and fearing a fall, between living independently and slowly losing control of your own body. And yet, no one is talking about it. The fitness world continues to push step counts, expensive shoes, and wearable trackers, all built around the idea that walking alone is the ultimate solution. But orthopedic specialists and rehabilitation experts have known for years that walking does very little to stop age-related muscle loss. That muscle loss has a name: sarcopenia. It begins quietly as early as your 30s and accelerates after 60. Every decade, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass if you do nothing to stop it. By your 70s, that loss can reach 30% or more. Walking does not provide enough resistance to stop it, but the right exercises can. A long-term study conducted by Harvard Medical School in 2022 followed more than 2,000 older adults for a year and a half. One group focused almost entirely on walking. The other added simple seated resistance movement. The outcome could not have been clearer. The walking group continued to lose muscle. The seated exercise group gained muscle. Same ages, similar health conditions, completely different futures. And the most remarkable finding came from a single movement that dramatically improved bone density in participants over 65, something doctors once believed was nearly impossible. Orthopedic surgeons are now prescribing that movement to patients recovering from hip surgery because it consistently outperforms traditional therapy. Before we get into the exercises, take a moment and let us know in the comments how old you are and where you are watching from. We read every message, and your experience helps others feel less alone in their health journey. Now let us begin with the 5th exercise on the list, and this one is far more powerful than it looks. Number 5 is seated calf raises. This is one of the most overlooked exercises in senior fitness, yet it plays a massive role in mobility, circulation, and long-term independence. The muscles in your calves are not just for walking. They act as a powerful pump that helps push blood from your legs back up toward your heart. This process is known as venous return, and it becomes weaker with age. When calf muscles weaken, blood tends to pool in the lower legs, leading to swelling, heaviness, varicose veins, and an increased risk of blood clots. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology examined older adults with mild circulation issues. Those who performed seated calf raises several times per week saw dramatic improvements in blood flow efficiency, reduced swelling, and improved leg comfort within just 12 weeks. Walking activates the calves only lightly because the effort is spread across many muscles. Seated calf raises isolate them and force them to work harder. To do this exercise properly, sit in a stable chair with both feet flat on the floor. Your knees should be bent comfortably. Slowly press through the balls of your feet and lift your heels as high as you can. Hold that position briefly, then lower your heels back down under control. That slow lowering phase is where much of the muscle strengthening occurs. Start with 15 repetitions and gradually work toward multiple sets. As you get stronger, placing light weight across your thighs can make the exercise even more effective. This movement places no strain on your knees or hips, which is why surgeons often recommend it even after joint surgery. Done consistently, many people notice lighter, stronger legs in just a couple of weeks. Now let us move to an exercise that directly determines how easily you stand, climb, and move through your home. Number 4 is seated knee extensions. The quadriceps muscles on the front of your thighs are essential for daily life. They allow you to rise from a chair, climb stairs, and get out of a car. Unfortunately, they weaken rapidly with age if not trained directly. Research from the University of Vermont showed that adults over 60 lose thigh strength at nearly twice the rate of younger adults unless they perform resistance exercises. In that same research, seniors who practiced seated knee extensions actually increased their muscle mass while others declined. Walking does not challenge the quadriceps enough to stimulate growth. Seated knee extensions do. When you lift your lower leg against gravity, your quadriceps must fully engage. Sit upright in a chair, hold the sides for support, and slowly straighten one leg until it is fully extended. Hold briefly while tightening the thigh muscle, then lower it slowly back down. Switch legs and repeat. The key is control and focus. Actively squeezing the muscle dramatically improves results. Studies show that people who consciously engage their muscles gain significantly more strength than those who move passively. As strength improves, ankle weights or resistance bands can be added safely. Strong quadriceps protect your knees, reduce joint stress, and make everyday movements safer and easier. The next exercise targets a muscle group that quietly determines whether you walk confidently or shuffle cautiously. Number 3 is seated hip marches. Your hip flexor muscles lift your legs each time you take a step. When they weaken, your stride shortens, your feet drag, and your risk of falling rises sharply. A major study from the Mayo Clinic found that hip flexor weakness was the strongest predictor of falls in adults over 60. Those with the weakest hip flexors were far more likely to experience serious falls within a year. Falls are not minor events. They are one of the leading causes of injury, disability, and loss of independence among older adults. Seated hip marches directly strengthen the muscles that prevent them. Sit near the edge of a chair with your back tall. Lift one knee toward your chest in a slow, controlled motion. Hold briefly, then lower it back down and switch sides. Move slowly and avoid swinging your leg. The slower and more controlled the movement, the greater the benefit. This exercise not only strengthens your hips, but also challenges your core and balance. Many surgeons report faster recovery in patients who perform this movement regularly before and after joint procedures. Now we move to an exercise that protects your posture, your breathing, and your upper body strength. Number 2 is seated rows using a resistance band. Everyday life requires pulling strength, opening doors, lifting objects, getting out of bed, even maintaining good posture all depend on the muscles of your upper back. When these muscles weaken, your shoulders round forward, and your spine begins to collapse inward. This posture compresses your lungs, strains your neck, and increases fall risk. Walking does nothing to strengthen these muscles. Research published in the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that seniors who performed seated rowing exercises significantly improved posture and reduced upper back pain, while those who only walked saw no improvement. To perform seated rows, loop a resistance band around your feet while seated. Hold the ends, sit tall, and pull your elbows back while squeezing your shoulder blades together. Pause briefly, then return slowly to the starting position. The goal is controlled movement and steady resistance. Strong back muscles support your spine like cables supporting a bridge, helping you stand taller and move with confidence. Now we arrive at the most important exercise on the list, the one that doctors, researchers, and surgeons agree matters more than any other. Number 1 is the sit-to-stand squat. This movement is not just an exercise. It is a predictor of longevity. Multiple studies have shown that the ability to rise from a seated position without assistance is closely linked to survival and independence. The sit-to-stand squat activates nearly every major muscle in your lower body at once. It strengthens your legs, hips, core, and stabilizing muscles in a way no isolated movement can. A 2023 study found that older adults who practice sit-to-stand exercises regularly increased bone density in their hips and thighs, areas most vulnerable to fractures. Bone responds to stress, And this movement provides exactly the kind of stress bones need to stay strong. To perform it safely, sit in a chair with your feet slightly wider than hip width. Cross your arms over your chest. Lean forward slightly and push through your heels to stand. Pause briefly, then lower yourself back down slowly, controlling the descent. That slow lowering phase builds tremendous strength. Start with a manageable number of repetitions and gradually increase. This single movement improves nearly every aspect of daily life. Taken together, these 5 exercises represent what many orthopedic specialists wish every adult over 60 would prioritize. Walking is still valuable for heart health and enjoyment, but it cannot preserve strength on its own. Targeted resistance exercises are what protect your muscles, bones, balance, and independence. You do not need a gym. You do not need expensive equipment. You need a chair, a few minutes, and consistency. Start with one exercise. Build confidence. Add another when you are ready. Within weeks, daily tasks will feel easier. Movements that once caused hesitation will feel natural again. Strength gives you freedom, and freedom gives you quality of life. Now we would love to hear from you. Which of these exercises do you plan to try first? Have you always been told walking was enough? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Your story may help someone else take their first step toward a stronger future.